Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a story that honestly goes way beyond your typical ups and downs of a Formula One season. I mean, think about it. This was supposed to be the year of George Russell. After years of patiently waiting in the wings, 2026 was the season he finally stepped up as the undisputed leader of Mercedes, armed with a W17 car that was genuinely the class of the field. But, as we're about to see, what actually unfolded over those first 6 months wasn't a glorious title fight at all. Instead, it's been nothing short of a psychological demolition. So let's just dive right in and see exactly how a dream season turned into a total nightmare. Now, to really grasp the sheer brutality of this season for George, you don't need to look any further than this striking quote from former F1 driver David Coulthard. He said this on the Up to Speed podcast. Not even Sylvester Stallone would write a Rocky movie with that sort of comeback from all the punches that he's taken. I mean, wow. When a veteran of the sport says that not even a Hollywood scriptwriter could fathom a Rocky-style comeback from the kind of beating you've taken, you know it's bad. We aren't just talking about losing a couple of races here. We're talking about a relentless, compounding series of shocks that have literally pushed a top-tier driver to his breaking point. Section 1. A championship dream unravels. The fastest start, the fastest fall. The timeline of this collapse maps out with just brutal clarity. It all started so perfectly, right? A dominant victory in Australia in March, a massive statement of intent. But then the fairy tale rapidly unravels, almost like a domino effect. In April, a technical problem strikes in China. Then in May, an ill-timed safety car in Japan completely destroys his race strategy. By June, in Monaco, he's getting hit with a string of penalties. So in just a matter of months, Russell goes from standing on the top step of the podium as the clear leader of Mercedes to fighting this seemingly endless wave of bad luck and external variables. Moving on to Section 2, Instinct versus Veteran Overthinking, the teammate battle. So while Russell is out there fighting the world and his own machine, the other side of the garage perfectly illustrates this really deep psychological divide. Mercedes brought in teenage rookie Kimi Antonelli, and he is just on a winning streak. He's out there driving purely on instinct, overflowing with this immense confidence. He's just driving the car. Contrast that with George. He's the veteran, the team leader. He's the one absorbing all those punches we just talked about, overthinking every single little issue, and frankly suffering a really deep crisis of confidence. His championship lead evaporated, and the whole situation shifted from just a run of bad luck into a true mental battle. David Coulthard actually hit the nail on the head with this dynamic. He pointed out, Kimi is just instinctively driving, whereas George has been taking the punches, and he's a little bit older. The benefit of youth is you don't know what you don't know. It's so true, isn't it? Antonelli doesn't carry that heavy veteran burden of overanalyzing every single failure. He just jumps in the seat and goes fast. Russell, on the flip side, knows exactly what's going wrong and completely bears the weight of trying to fix it, which of course just leads to even more overthinking. Section 3. The Ghost in the Machine. Powerless at Spa. Okay, so Spa. This was probably the most revealing and honestly baffling moment of the 2026 season so far. Russell qualifies fourth. Pretty good, right? But here is the shocking part. He is a staggering half a second behind his rookie teammate. And if you follow F1, you know that half a second is an absolute eternity. But the crazy thing is, he wasn't making mistakes in the corners. In fact, his cornering had actually improved. Instead, he was just getting eaten up on the straights. He literally described himself as feeling completely powerless out there. Get this, when Russell crossed the line that half a second down, a whopping 75% of that lost time came purely from the power unit on the straights. Only 25% was lost in the corners or anywhere else. For a driver, that is a data-driven nightmare. I mean, you can push the car to its absolute physical limit through the turns, but if the engine just flat out refuses to deliver on the straightaways, there is absolutely nothing you can do. And the team? They were completely baffled. Trackside engineering director Andrew Shovlin admitted it openly. He said, "There is a clear loss that we cannot explain by driving style. The car was fundamentally failing him." And what's really interesting here is that it wasn't just a George Russell problem. Over at McLaren, Oscar Piastri, who runs that exact same Mercedes customer engine, was suffering from the identical, unexplainable power unit gremlin compared to his teammate Lando Norris. It was literally a ghost in the machine. Section 4. Hitting rock bottom. Hungary and the crack. If you want to see momentum get destroyed, just look at the cascading disasters in Hungary. It's a textbook case of overwhelming bad luck. First, right in the middle of qualifying, he suffers a sudden loss of water pressure and is ordered to stop the car immediately. Second, the team digs in and discovers the engine block is actually cracked. Third, because of that crack, he's forced to take his fourth engine of the season, which is the absolute final one and his penalty-free allocation. And then, as if all of that wasn't enough, during the race start, an anti-stall glitch hits his car, completely eliminating him from contention before they even reach turn 1. It is just relentless. You could feel the stress of this unreliability radiating through the entire garage. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff is famously unflappable, right? But his uncertainty about the engine was clear as day. He said, "Not sure, we need to check whether we can repair it. It has quite a crack." When you hear that level of uncertainty from team leadership, it really underscores just how deeply these mechanical gremlins shook the foundation of a team that is usually defined by bulletproof reliability. Which brings us to Section 5, the fight for survival, a heartbreaking final act. Let's go back to race day at Spa, because it perfectly encapsulates the tragedy of his season. He starts the race in a highly competitive third place. But just like in qualifying, he is entirely powerless on the straights. And because of that straight-line deficit, he loses 3 positions almost instantly. Knowing his championship hopes are slipping away right then and there, he tries a desperate recovery move. That move leads to contact with Lewis Hamilton, and he crashes out of the race. The final image we get of George before the summer break is him sitting in the garage, head in his hands, completely heartbroken. You can really feel his frustration in this quote he gave to the BBC. He said, "Very, very disappointing. Felt like I was in a position to fight for the lead after turn 1, and suddenly, no power and it's all gone." He did everything right going into that first corner. Everything. But the machine failed him, and it forced a chain reaction that ended his race.
59.
Yeah, 59. That number represents the sheer mathematical weight of this disastrous run. George Russell headed into the 2026 summer break 59 points behind his teenage rookie teammate, Kimi Antonelli. He's plummeted all the way down to third in the championship standings after starting the year with such a dominant win. Facing down a 59-point deficit, it just feels like an insurmountable mountain to climb. Which leads us to the ultimate question. Is a comeback even possible at this point? I mean, sure, Max Verstappen managed an incredible comeback last year, but the circumstances here feel entirely different. This doesn't feel like your normal everyday points deficit. Like we talked about earlier with David Coulthard's quote, this feels almost like a curse. It's a barrage of punches that no movie script would even dare to write. So moving forward, Russell's mindset has to completely shift. The good news? Despite everything that's happened, his seat at Mercedes is 100% confirmed for next year. He has that certainty at least. Because of that, the second half of this 2026 season is no longer about winning the World Championship. It is strictly about survival. It's about proving to himself, and really the whole paddock, that he has the mental fortitude to drive fast enough to beat the unexplainable gremlins in his car, and more importantly, to conquer the overthinking in his own mind. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on as we wait for the F1 season to start back up. Can George Russell beat the ghost in the machine? Can he finally stop overanalyzing, tap back into that raw driving instinct, and spark a comeback? Or has this brutal, unrelenting sequence of mechanical failures and bad luck permanently broken a champion before his reign even truly began? It is going to be a fascinating psychological battle to watch, and you can bet we'll be watching closely. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we'll see you next time.